no such thing as liberation, enlightenment. There's no such thing as seeking and any of those ideas, concepts that the seeker has about what they're looking for. And so there is no one to be liberated, and there is nothing to be liberated, because already everything is complete. It's nothing complete. It's utterly complete. So there's nothing that needs to change. But in the language of the seeker, in the dualistic world, there's an idea that they can find something called liberation, which will be better than the experience they're having at the moment. You could call it enlightenment, liberation, or whatever. And the great problem for the seeker is that it lives in a world of somethings. And so when it decides that it's not happy, it then makes the name up like liberation or enlightenment, and it makes those things a something that it can have, that it can achieve and experience for itself. And that's the problem, that it's then in a dualistic way looking for a something that will release it from its suffering or sense of separation. So there is no such thing as liberation. There isn't anything to be liberated. And when suddenly the whole sense of separation or being separate and the need to find something that is thought to be lost, when all of that idea falls away, suddenly it's seen that there's no need for there to be a thing called liberation, because there is no longer anyone to be liberated. There just is nothing and everything, which is indescribable and can't be known. Oh, totally, yeah, very, very much misunderstood, because there is no such thing as non-duality. There is no such thing as non-duality. Non-duality, as far as I'm concerned, is a term. It's two words which point to the nothing everything, which point to empty stillness, which point to the whole, the relative and the absolute, the form and the formless. It points to something which is incomprehensible, and so in that sense there is no such thing as non-duality, except that it's a pointer, and it's been largely misunderstood. A lot of people think non-duality is a good word to use as a teaching, because they're under the delusion that non-duality is a something which can be through work and through processes, it can be achieved and experienced personally. So teachers who teach or claim to teach non-duality are still in the dualistic world, and they are offering the person a personal experience of non-duality, as I say, which they can achieve and experience. And of course, nothing and everything can't be achieved and experienced. It is the everything and the nothing. And if there's a teacher there who is teaching a system in order to find something that's lost, then to me, it's very apparent that they think that they are a person, a me, a self, that has found something, and they, in most cases, very sincerely want to help other people find the same thing. But there's nothing to find because there's nothing lost. Well, there are all sorts of, I giggle really, because there's non-dual therapy, there's non-dual meditation. On the YouTube, you can have meditations which take you to non-duality. But I think the confusion they have is that they somehow muddle the idea of non-duality with oneness. They think that oneness is non-duality, or neither are anything in that sense. But they make them something like all selves make everything a something that they can achieve, and so they turn those things into a something and use that as though it's a process, as though non-duality is a state that can be reached, and obviously it can't be. There is no teaching, of course. The teaching non-duality can't be taught because it's already everything and nothing. So how can you teach everything and nothing? But there's a lot of popularity. There's a lot of teachers on YouTube who offer all sorts of things connected with the idea of non-duality. Of course not, no. What the communication that comes out of no thing is that there is no one. There's nothing. Obviously, this communication is coming out of no thing, and there are others that speak from no thing. That's why the title of the conference is rather good, the No Thing Conference. And so there isn't anything that's on offer, and there is a recognition that the idea that there is an individual or a student who can learn something and gain and achieve something, that whole idea is recognized as illusory. So there's no recognition of there being anyone. And because there's no recognition of there being anyone, obviously the whole idea of free will and choice is discarded or ignored, because there isn't anyone, and there's nothing that can have free will and choice. And there isn't anything to choose anyway, because already all there is nothing. You're speaking to no one, but the person asking the questions is also no one. But it goes through the filter, maybe, of the self, which wants to know. The great power, the great energy that the individual self has in the dualistic world is to know everything. It tries to know. And there are teachings which encourage the idea of knowing, and their ultimate aim is that you end up knowing the known. And now this is dualism again, because there has to be a knower, one, that knows the known, two. The known is the two. So there's still a dualism. Come to know the known. This is the teaching that, or the communication that comes out of nothing, sees knowing as simply a block, or a way of reinforcing a sense of me who wants to know. At the end, although there is no end to this communication, but it's possible that when the individual falls away and the dualistic illusion falls away, all that will be left is unknowing. No one. There is no one. A teacher would spend hours telling you who you are or who you could be, because that's a teaching of becoming. All teachings in dualism are a teaching of becoming. Something will change and be better or transform. Whereas when there is no one and there's a communication out of no thing, there's obviously no recognition of there being anyone who is anything. There isn't anyone. There is only what is and is not. Yeah, nothing and the everything together. Oh, it's an illusion. That's again an illusion built up in the dualistic world of teaching, in which there's a self who comes to realize who they are, whatever that means. It's a path to complete and utter futility.